Now, the interesting thing about this is that as of right now, again, if you copy this, if you copy the whole link, you'll get pretty much the same thing every time. It'll look something like this, with a bunch of weird letters, numbers, jumbled together. Yours will not look as pretty as this. Yours will look like this, if I'm correct. Yeah, the raw version is like, it's really hard to see exactly what's going on in there. But if you have one of these nice little formatters, it looks something like this. And you'll notice this data comes back as a JavaScript object. This is why I needed to teach you about objects, because a lot of the data, or most of the data on the internet, is sent around as a JavaScript object, essentially. What we call JSON. But for now, you just think about it as an object. It's what we learned at the end of last semester. Now, inside this object, we have a key called data that holds another type of data, which you've seen before. What is the data that's denoted with these square brackets? What do we call these? Arrays. Exactly. So I taught you about arrays also. We need to learn about objects. We needed to learn about arrays because that is how a lot of the data on the internet is sent around from one website to another one, from one app to another one. And so we're going to use this data in our application. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to fetch that data from the GIPHY API by using a JavaScript function called fetch. And what fetch will do is it will go to the URL you pick and it'll grab all the data. So fetch will come here, it'll collect all this data for you and it'll give it back to you. So we say fetch the URL. However, the problem with this is that when it goes to get that data from GIPHY, it actually takes a little bit of time. It takes like 2 to 3 seconds. And for a computer, that is a long time. Because of that, it takes a really long time to get that data. It doesn't happen right away, so we have to tell our code to wait until that data comes back. A good way to think about it is like if you go to McDonald's and you order, my classic order at McDonald's is the 2 cheeseburger meal with a 20-piece chicken McNuggets and an apple pie combo package. Because I'm fat, but not really, but I just love food. Now, if you do that, when you pay them, do they give you your food right away? No, what do they give you instead? Okay. Maybe they give you some judgmental looks, but the first thing they do is they give you a receipt, right? That receipt is a promise that you're going to get food eventually. It doesn't mean you get your food right away. Like, I love the McChickens. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I do not know what that is. I do know, though, that when you go to McDonald's and you order, they give you a receipt, and then as soon as that food is ready, they call your number and you go pick up the food. That's kind of the way this works, too. You fetch all of the data, and then, as soon as it's ready, we say .then, like this. And the .then waits until we get the data. And so I'm going to use one of these JavaScript fat arrow functions like this. We're going to take that data, and we're going to turn it into data.json, which stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So we're taking the data, and we're turning it into a JavaScript object. And right below that, we say another .then. As soon as that is done, we're going to take that response, which I'm just going to call res for response, and we're going to pass it to this other function right here. All this function is going to do is console.log the response. However, if we get an error, we want to catch that error. So right below that, we say .catch the error. We're going to console.log the error, just so we know what happened. Now, this little chunk of code right here, you've probably never seen before. This should be entirely new to you, and I don't expect you to get it right away. Don't worry, I just want you to copy it right now. We're going to see what it does, and then we're going to talk about why it works the way it does later on. But for right now, just copy that down. Now, to check to see if this works, here's what we're going to do. First, I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to head to the preview that I have currently open here, and I'm going to pop it into a new browser.
Hey, Aster, I have a question.
Yes, you have a question. If you press refresh, if there's something weird going on here, press refresh and it should work. If you still have some errors, let me know. Did that work? All right, great. Now what you're going to do is you're going to click pop out into a new window like this. And it should look like this, and click control click and see if yours allows you to inspect element. If it does, you're good. If it doesn't allow you, you'll need to open up Firefox so that we can do it in Firefox. I know, it's so frustrating. That's the school firewall, children. I know, I can't set those configuration files. I apologize. It's annoying, but it is what it is. Now, if you need to open yours up in Firefox, here's what you do. You just open up Firefox, and you copy this link and paste it into Firefox. Like this. Literally, you just copy this, go to Firefox, and then paste this link in just like this. Now, if you get this opened up, you press Control click, and then you hit Inspect Element. Now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, I need everyone to make sure they can do this. This is the most important thing you can do. Zscaler would be your username at alliance.land. Now you're going to click Inspect Element and it should look like this. Something like this. Now when you do this, you're going to click the one that says Console right here. And your console should look something like this, and if you did this correctly, here's what it should be. If you have that pulled up either in Chrome, if it works on Chrome, or in Firefox, you're good to go. Then you should click Find a GIF and see what happens. Ready? Click. Oh man, I got a network error. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, that might be part of the firewall thing also. Either way, it's cool. I will help you get it right. But here's essentially what should happen. Are you ready? If you go to the console and you click Find a GIF, it should give you back the data just like this. So see that right there? When I click Find a GIF, it has given me back the GIPHY data in an object with a key called data that has 25 different GIFs in it. So if I open that up, here's all the GIFs. I have a drawing potatoes GIF, a WTF true story GIF, a hop hip dancing potato GIF, a potato Mr. Head, a Mr. Potato Paradise, a love happy food. We have all different kind of GIFs available here to pick from. Now to do this, we need to know how to get items or access items inside an object and how to access items inside an array. Now this next part is going to be a little confusing, but follow along with me and your app will basically be done. Are you ready? Let's do this. The first thing we need to do is in our code is we need to make variables that hold this array and a variable that holds one of these GIFs. To do that, we'll start off by coming down here, right below where it says console.log res. We'll say var array of GIFs is equal to res.data. And the reason why I'm saying res.data is because if you look at the response that GIPHY sent back to us, it sends an object back, and that object we're storing as the variable res, short for response. Then there is a key in the response called data. And if you look right here, it should say, here is the res object, the whole thing, and there is one key called what? Data. There's another one called meta and pagination, but we don't need these. This is essentially saying that there are 4,139 GIFs of potatoes, and we can get as many of them as we want if we ask for it. But right now, all we're going to do is we're going to get this array of GIFs that we stored as data, and we're going to grab the first one. If you want to know how, you scroll over it, and it'll tell you, say, data brackets 0. And so if I want to get the first item, I'm going to say var first item is equal to array of GIFs. And then what number do you put here to get the first item? 0. Lovely. Now, once we have that first GIF stored as a variable called first item, it is actually an object, and you can find that out by opening it up. And it has a bunch of information inside it. Now, we want to get one of the images here. Do you see that? See where it says images? So to get the images, Google Chrome will give us a nice little hint. It'll say data0.images. Now, inside images, we want to get the one that has fixed width, which is right here. And if you scroll over it, it says data0.images.fixedWidth. And inside that object, we want to get the one called URL. And if you scroll over it, it'll tell you, you have to say data0.images.fixedWidth.url. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of stuff. But if you do it correctly, it'll look like this. We will say var GIPHY link equals first item dot images dot fixed underscore width dot URL. And now that we have this URL, we can make it appear on our page with this line of code. We're going to say document.querySelector, just like we did in the taco selector lab. And we're going to pass in the name or the ID of our image. What is the ID of our image up here? GIF. So how do you select something with an ID of GIF? You remember your CSS? Hashtag GIF. And we're going to set its attribute, .set attribute, the source attribute equal to the GIPHY link that we just selected. And if you do this, it will work. That is actually a fully functional version of this app. So this is the entire little section right here. And this is actually the part that makes the GIF appear on the page. Now, we didn't pick a random one yet. We'll do that in a second. And we didn't choose a different search term. We'll do that as well. But this is the bare bones, the smallest version of this app that will work. Cool? So we're actually, if you save this and you go click the get GIF button again, it should make a GIF appear on your page. I want everyone to try it out and see if they can get it working. Save this, go to your app, click refresh, see if when you click find GIF, my GIF didn't pop up. So I come back here, I'm going to check out, I'm going to refresh this again. I'm going to click find a GIF. Uh-oh, it didn't work. And I don't know why yet, but if I scroll in there, yours will probably work, because this one looks like it did work. Yours will probably work. Mine didn't, for whatever reason. That's fine. I want everyone to try it out right now and see if they can get a GIF to appear on their page.